Good morning everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualized NZ. And as you can see here, I've got out my jelly plate and I'm going to do some jelly printing today. It is Trash Craft Tuesday, so I am going to focus on using bits of trash to do printing with. And I've collected up a few bits and pieces that I've been wanting to play with. And I haven't actually played with my gel plate for quite a long time, or it feels like a long time. So good day to do it. And I couldn't find my test pots of paint because we had a big shuffle round of the house a few weeks back, and I can't remember where I put the box. So I've grabbed out these mostly chrome acrylic, but there are others. That one's basically feels empty. And I haven't used these for an absolute age, like probably 2-3 years. So it will be a bit of discovery as to what I need to throw out and what's still okay. So I'm going to grab a bit of paper at the ready, and I'm going to start with just doing some backgrounds, and then we can do our trash printing over top of that. So this is another one that feels like it's basically empty. So I don't know how well these paints are going to work, given that they're so old. Still going there. So hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. It's a beautiful sunny day outside, so I've got some washing on. So after I've done this video, I'll have to head out and hang the washing out on the line to dry. But it's cold inside at the moment. It was cold and wet weekend, so it's just taking a little bit of time for... Oops, that's a bit more than what I wanted. Can I put some back, like putting the genie back in the bottle? Oh, managed to get a little bit back in the tube. Okay, let's just... And I'm working with my big brayer today, so that will be interesting as well. Normally I work with the smaller one. So just gonna lay down some colour and pull some just straight prints before we get a bit creative with the trash. Yeah, so hopefully you're all having a spectacular day, whatever the weather's doing, whatever's in store for you today. I hope it's a really good one. It's going to be a good day for me. How can it not be? Because I'm playing with my jelly plate, and like that is just one of the best things in the world to do. Like, it's just so fun. One of those things that once you start, it's hard to stop. And I'm working with my 8x10 gel plate, so this paper here is not quite long enough, but that's okay. Oops. I love the tactile nature of working on the gel plate as well, like smoothing it with my hands. Some people use the brayer. I just like to get my hands in there and give it a good smoosh down. And this is just butcher paper out of a pad, a children's scribble pad, I guess. And that's a really nice background just to start with. Quite happy with how that's, oops, turned out. My plate is very sticky. And up until like a minute ago, I did have a cat helper. She wasn't so very helpful though. She was sitting on my roll-off paper, which is to the side, and you won't be able to see that, but I simply can't fit everything in the frame, so I'm sorry. I might, if I remember, I'll give you a look at the roll-off sheet at the end. So just ripping off a few bits of paper ready to go, and let's try a blue one. And maybe that fluoro, no, it's not a fluoro green, it's just a light green. Maybe we'll put some light green with it as well. So I'm happy that these paints are still actually okay to use, although I fully expect some won't be. But we can discover that along the way, depending how playful I get with the colours, because I don't want to go too wide in the colours, because then my roll-off sheet tends to get a bit muddy. So I like to keep sort of in the same colours that complement each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Some of this is doing that funny thing that it can do, but that doesn't worry me because it's just a background layer. So I might go up to the top this time if I can. There we go. Oops, I'm going to end up, let's just embrace the painty mess. It'll wash off as long as I don't get it on my clothes, although it doesn't really matter because it's just a sweatshirt I wear around home, so if it gets paint on it, it's not really a big deal. Yep. Okay, so I managed to leave, oops, and I was afraid of that happening. I'm pulling so hard I'm actually tearing the paper. Okay, let's try not to do more of that. Just to be a bit more gentle. I mean, just the backgrounds that you get on the gel plate are beautiful in themselves. Right, so this one that I feel like is almost empty, let's see what we can get out of this. It's a warm yellow. Oh no, there's still a reasonable amount in it, so that's fine. And let's go back to, which blue did I use? This one? I think it was this one. So I expect we'll end up with some green resulting here. It's just nothing quite like spreading some paint out on a jelly plate with a rolly tool. With a brayer. It's just, if you haven't tried it, I thoroughly recommend it. The gel plates aren't cheap, it has to be said. You can make your own, which I personally haven't bothered with, but like, it's a tool that you just can use over and over and over again, so it definitely pays for itself. Right, so just rolling off the brayer. It's definitely an investment in your creativity that I do highly recommend. So, you know, birthday or Christmas or something like that, you know, you can grab a few family members or something to put in a pot and help you buy one if you can't financially afford it, because it took me a long time to buy one because I couldn't afford it. And I did buy it with, it was either birthday money or Christmas money. So, and then I haven't looked back. It's just the best thing. And all I'm trying to do is to encourage you to have fun, because it is so much fun. And like, if you've watched videos and you think, wow, yeah, I'm not sure if I need one. I was exactly the same. When I first saw them come out, I thought, no, I don't need one of those. Can't see the point of having one. So it took me a long time before I even decided I would get one. And yeah, as I said, I haven't looked back. It's just the best thing. Share the joy. That's what I'm trying to do, is share the joy. So going with the yellow oxide here. This one's a bit thicker by the feel of it. And maybe we'll put that with the warm yellow. Oops, blurch. Yep, no, it's definitely almost close to being empty. So maybe I might try and use it up so we can get rid of it into the rubbish. Sometimes quite nice just to go with a couple of different tones of the same colour. That's what I'm doing here. Oops, got a bit crusty bit there. Let's get you off. Bit of dry paint. Right, so I've got a couple more sheets to do, and then we'll get into doing some patterns with the trash items, and this will always also be part of my 100-day project. For my 100-day project I am doing collage fodder, so that's what I'm doing as well. So I'm hitting Trash Craft Tuesday and my 100-day project. And anything else? No, I think that's about it. I think that's all I've got planned for this video, is covering those two things in the one process. So I've been itching also to do jelly printing for my 100-day project, and I've just been waiting for the right day. Mind you, we're only up to day, is it day 12 or something like that. So it's early days, like there's a long way to go yet. So I imagine I'll be doing, I hope, more than one session on the gel plate for my 100-day project. Yeah, there's some nice subtle variations in the yellow there. Love that. Nice and happy. Okay, let's use some more of this yellow. On a mission now to use it up. And what do we want to put with it this time? Oops. Put a bit out there. Let's go for orange. Now this is one picked up secondhand somewhere. Oh, if I can get it open. Now this is probably one of the most expensive brands I've got, so you know, secondhand is a good option. And I don't know whether I've used it or not. It's a pretty colour, cadmium orange. So let's see what this looks like. It's very hard to undo that lid, very painful on my fingers. Wasn't that bright and happy? It's almost like a fluoro orange. Quite a bit sticky. I think it's a heavier body paint than the student grade acrylics. Oh, that's the roll-off sheet. It's looking nice. Hey. Oops, got a bit of paint on my hand. I'm decorating up the back as well. I'm going to be nice and painty. I can frame myself and call myself an artwork at the end of the day. So the last few sessions I've done on the gel plate, I've been using my smaller gel plate. So it's quite nice to be back on the bigger one, which is the one I originally bought. And the other one was one that I got. I was part of an art collective, and when we closed up shop, the three of us who were running it split up what supplies we wanted, and then we sold the rest. And I took one of the smaller gel plates that we'd bought as part of the collective. So that's cool, like that. And some great background. So I've got one more sheet here to print as a background, and then we'll play. Not that we're not playing already, because I most certainly am. So what colour? Maybe the green. We haven't done the yellow and the green. We did the yellow and the blue. So let's go green. Ooh, this one's got some crusty bits around it. This might be why this one's hard to open. Get rid of that. I'm afraid to squeeze too hard in case I get like half a tube out, although there's less than half a tube left, so. Oh, my stomach's growling. Not quite sure why. Might be the coffee going down. Right. Oh, getting paint all over the table, which is fine because it's just a trestle table that I use for art when I set up when I need a bigger surface. So that reminds me, I do hope the lighting is okay because I've set up the trestle table. So it's in a different location and the lighting is different. So I hope it's okay for you guys and not too dark or too bright or too something. It's a pretty colour, isn't it? Very sort of spring green colour with that combination. Right. Okay. Pretty cool. Right, so we have a selection of pages now to work with. So I'm just going to give a quick wipe down. Normally I wouldn't bother, but I just feel like it today. Give a quick wipe down of my gel plate before I get into the decorative part. I don't know why I'm choosing to do it when I don't normally, but just got a few crusty bits on the side here. Get those off. I think most of these are actually left over from last time I used the plate, which would have been quite a while ago. Crusty bits. And quite surprising because I always clean my plate after I've used it. So that day I obviously wasn't very particular. Not as particular as what I would normally be. But you can see it's well used. I mean, it's got colour all over it. It's stained. It's been well loved. Okay, so first thing I've got to play with are these little strips here. So I've got some cardstock ones. This is a light cardstock, and then I've got some that are acetate. And these are from some training manuals that were being thrown out at my husband's work, and somebody had thrown them into the rubbish bin. But most of it's recyclable. So my husband, I was there that day, so my husband and I spent, you know, a good 20 minutes or so pulling them all apart because there was a big stack of them, and throwing out the bits that weren't recyclable, and then putting the majority of it into the recycling bin so it can go and be made into something else. And I kept quite a lot of the acetate covers, and the back covers were heavy black cardstock, so I kept those. And then I kept just a few of the white covers because they're shiny, so I wasn't sure quite what I'd do with it, but I thought I'd keep some. And then most of these strips where they were bound with the wire were just torn up, like they were broken and torn, but I rescued some that weren't, so I want to play with those on the jelly plate because they would have otherwise just gone in the bin. So I'm going to go fluoro pink because that sounds like fun. So let's do a bit of fluoro pink, and I think I'm just going to go one colour. Yeah, just one colour for now. My plate seems to be very sticky, and maybe that's because I haven't used it for a long time. And it's gone very sticky, which is I think why I tore that background paper. It's so super sticky. clumpy bits on the pink there, and I've got a bit of cat fur stuck on the roller now. Oops. So I'm just going to lay these down. Got this short little bit, so I'm just going to hang it over the edge a little bit in case I have trouble lifting it up, so that I've got room to pull it up. Now one of these I did notice, that one goes right through at the end. Oh, and I can't tear it. One of these had a cut part way through. It must be this one. So I'll have to be mindful of that when I'm pulling it up. So can't see it now. That would be the way, wouldn't it? Maybe I'll put a bit over here. And I've also got this here. Now I don't know if any of you recognize what this is. This is when you hired out a movie from the video store, obviously DVD. They had these little magnetic strips that they'd lock or unlock, and we bought a bunch from a video store that was shutting down, and I discovered this the other day. One of them still had the strip in, and if you accidentally lock it, then you know it's very hard to access your movie. So I pulled it out of the case because I thought we don't want any accidents, and I thought that might create an interesting pattern because it's got all sorts of ridges on the other side. So let's see. Yeah, it definitely creates a pattern. You probably can't see it in camera, but be able to see it when I do the print, hopefully. I'm just going to push that down and lift some paint off. Maybe do some the other way. Right, just press it on my roll-off sheet to get some of that paint off. Oh yeah, I like the pattern from just doing that. Right, I think I might go with the yellow. Let's try with the yellow. I think the paint's still wet enough. If it's not, well, we'll just go over top with something else and do another print. It's the beauty, it's really hard to get wrong. You may not achieve the exact look that you're going for, but that's just part of the exploration, part of the play. Right, so I'm running down inside the strips to push the paper down into those little holes in the strips. So hopefully we'll get some of that square or some sort of mark from the center of those strips. Right, let's pull it up and see what we've got. Oh yeah. Isn't that fun? I love these. It's almost film strippy. And then you can't see a lot of the pattern of this piece that I pressed down in. I don't know if you can see it in camera because the paint went a bit funny. It wasn't solid. But there's still texture there both from what the paint did and from the mark making with that bit of plastic. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's a fun bit, and I don't know if I want to do anything else to it. I think I'm just really happy with that as is. So I'm going to pop it in the done pile. Right. So we've got some fun residual marks here. We're trying to remember what order I put them down in. Okay. So if that's dry, I think we're going to put another colour over top. Got this Rose Madder which is one I picked up on clearance for like $1 or $2 or something. It's a pretty colour. Oh, look at that. Pretty. So I don't know whether it's going to be enough of a contrast with the fluoro pink. It may not be, but I'm going to do some other patterns on top. So if we get anything from those strips, great. If we don't, no biggie. Oops, and I think we might need a bit more paint on the plate there. Let's go with a bit more. It's a totally different consistency. It's more jelly-like, this paint. It's very cheap. I mean, it wasn't a dear paint to begin with, and then I picked it up on clearance. But I believe in using cheap paints on the jelly plate because you're just having fun and playing around. And if it's just things like collage fodder. My cat fur is leaving a pattern. Let's see if we can get that off. There we go. Yeah, so like cheap paints, not a problem. Ooh, pretty. Like it on the roll off. Right. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do more of these actually because I really liked the effect of them. So I'm going to put them in a different place, hoping to get up some of that that first pattern that I put down here. Something like that. And then let's add some more of this. Makes really nice pattern on the tear off, roll off paper, I should say, not tear off. And it's still got the magnets in this little round bit, so it's leaving a different mark there, which is kind of fun. Right, okay, what am I going to put it on? Blue. Let's put it on this bluey green one that I tore. These ultimately are going to be torn up anyway, so I'm not upset about it. Oops, a bit curly. This paper is very thin, of course, being butcher paper, so it does curl a little bit with the wet paint and as it dries. So again, just pushing it down into those holes. See if I can pick up some of those inner bits. I'm glad I kept these strips because I'm liking what they're doing. Okay. Alright, I think I'll pull from this end because it's the end that's not torn. Oh yeah. And it has lifted some of that first lot of pattern we did. I don't know if you can see it. There's some showing up here from that first one we did. But look at that. Isn't that cool? And then you can see a bit better the pattern from that video security thing. Oh, that's fun. I do feel like I could do something else on this one though. So I'm going to pop that in the, we could do something else with. Right, okay, so we've played with those. We've played with plastic strip. Let's play with something else. And I've got this plastic wrap. Now we have a little small newspaper that's free, that's delivered so twice a week or once a week. And normally it's folded up and put in your letterbox. Well, this week, weirdly, they were just folded in half and wrapped in plastic wrap, like bizarre. And it was done by the deliverer. You can tell it was done by the deliverer. Must have been so expensive for them to do, rather than folding them up and popping them in. So I don't think they would have saved themselves any time. It was just bizarre, so I don't know if that's going to continue. But I saved the plastic because it's not food grade plastic. And also it's been on the ground and around newspapers and stuff, so you wouldn't want to use it for food. But I thought, that might be interesting on gel plate. So what colour do I want? I'm thinking I want a darker blue. Let's see if I've got a darker blue. Oh, I've got this aqua. Maybe this might be okay. This is a folk art. This is a more expensive paint I bought years ago. Oops, and it's a bit separated, so it may be a bit funky. Let's give it a go, because if it's no good, then I might as well throw it out. So we need to test it. See if it's going to work okay. It's not doing too bad actually, and it's a nice colour, pretty colour. And again, we've still got some of those strip marks, so we should be able to lift those up on this pull as well. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay, so I'm just gonna like have this bunched, and let's just create some texture. I mean, how easy is this to just create a bit of texture? And I'm just moving it around because as it gets full of paint, it makes less of an impression because it kind of flattens it out a bit and fills in some of the crevices. I'm just keeping and periodically just changing the bit that I'm dabbing in. Oh, I think that's going to be pretty. And let's put it on this green and yellow one. So I don't know how much green and yellow we're going to get showing through. Do I want to do anything else? No, let's just go for it. Right, literally people, you cannot get this wrong. However it turns out, it's going to be good. And if you don't like it, you just keep layering and layering and layering. And you just keep going until you do like it. Or until you think, well, once it's torn up, it'll be fine. Because once you break something down into little pieces, and you don't see the overall, then often things look perfectly beautiful. Right. I have a feeling I might need to do some more backgrounds because I'm just having way too much fun here. I better keep an eye on the time though. It's very easy for time to run away on you when you're playing with the gel plate. So many times I've sat down to do an hour, maybe 2 of jelly printing, and then 4 or 5 hours later I'm thinking, gosh, I haven't just even started on dinner. I better stop. Oh, this is pretty. I like this too. So we've covered over a lot of the base colour, but this is what jelly plate is about. It's about layering, 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 layering. And sometimes it might be 2 layers and sometimes it might be more. And I'm just loving that. Yeah, I seriously love that. That's going in the done pile because I don't want to do anything else to it. Right, so what colour do we want now? I'm thinking I'm going to go with this again and do the same thing as what I did on that last one because that was super satisfying. And do it on a different colour background this time. Possibly a little heavy-handed with the paint on that one. but never mind. So back in with our plastic. So I'm just doing it a few more times this time to lift a bit more of that paint off. Yep, my hands are definitely getting well painted. And let's go with this orange and yellow one, because I think this will be a really nice combination. I have to clean my desk or my table. Oops, bit of cat here. Let's get rid of that while we're here. And there's don't know what that is actually, but we'll get rid of it. Okay, so we actually don't see very much of the orange and yellow, but again, I think it's really pretty. But unlike this one, where I just love it how it is, and it's got some of the strip detail, just adds a little subtle touch. I think this one could have something else done to it. So it seems like I'm getting one that's like, yep, that's done, and then the next one is like, no, I want to do something else. It's all part of the fun. Ooh, Prussian blue. This is a nice dark blue. Maybe we'll use this one next. Yes, I was thinking, what am I going to use next as part of my trash? And I do have something. Oh, this one feels like it might be a bit goopy. Is it going to be okay? That end bit looks really dry and crusty. So I'm just going to set that aside because that looks like it might not work so well, that first bit. And this might not either. It still looks very goopy, but we'll give it a go and then we'll know whether we need to throw out the tube or not. I think it's going to be okay actually. It's not fantastic, but it's not super bad either. So I think we're going to get away with it. It can live in my paint container a little bit longer, but I think it needs using up before it does go completely dead. Because paint isn't cheap, you know, you get cheap paint and that's fantastic, but it is cheap paint, and so it has limitations, I guess, in some respect. And your Dura paints like this folk art one, which is like $7 a tube last time I bought it, which was years ago, so it's probably dearer now. You know, I don't want to waste it unnecessarily. Right, so I've got these little star things that were part of a packaging. It's part of something that came in to my husband's work, and they don't use these, so they were going to be thrown out, recycled. So I'm recycling them as an art tool. Because I thought they might make cool patterns, and they are. Of course, you won't see it that well, I don't think, until I pull the print. So I love using recycled items on the gel plate. I don't buy any texture tools. Well, seldom. I don't buy any tools that are supposed to be for texturing because they're actually really expensive. but I have bought the odd thing like a placemat with a cool texture, which I haven't used yet, but it's not a trash thing. So I thought, no, I won't use it today. I've actually only just used the one there, and I grabbed out 4, so it's all right. I think that'll be fine. Now, let's do this first one that I did with the 2 greens on it. Let's see what happens. On this one. So yeah, I just love using recycled items, finding things with interesting textures that would normally be trash, or you know, just normal household things that you don't want anymore, or you know, you've used up and then you've got part of the packaging left. You know, what cool things will it do on the jelly plate? I'm always looking out for cool textures. And that's part of the fun too. Oh, I think my paint was a little bit dry because we're not getting a lot here. We've got a couple of little smudges and that's it. So I've got this white paint here, which is really, really terrible white paint if you want opaque white paint. But if you want to not have whole white and just enable to lift paint without adding too much of another colour, then it's actually perfect. I bought 2 tubes of it too, you know, because I thought, oh, white paint and it's really affordable. Yeah, because it's not great quality. Okay, some of this blue wasn't actually dry. That's okay. We can, whatever comes up, comes up. That's an interesting colour anyway, the blue and white blended. Now, I'm actually thinking I'm going to do this on a new sheet. So just a plain, whoops, plain sheet. And let's see what we get this time. So if you don't pull anything up, it's generally because the paint's become too dry. Interesting there that the white was mixing in with it, so it wasn't actually perfectly dry. But it's part of the fun, part of the game of jelly printing. Okay, let's see if we get any of those star shapes being lifted up on this, or whether the paint all completely merged together. Oh, and I've still got some on the plate. Maybe it's just the paint because it was that sort of goopy. Okay, interesting. Just going to pop my plate to the side for a moment. So we've got areas where it lifted up the star pattern. So there's a bit in the middle, a bit around the edges. But I love this area here as well. That's kind of almost like weatherboards. It's gone into like strips, almost like it's old painted wood. It's actually super cool. I mean, not what I intended at all, but I love this. I think it's so pretty. That's going straight into the done pile. Like, I just completely in love with that page as is. So here, let's see what we can pull up on this one. And I might use this rose madder again and see if we can add some of those details to this one. And there is a risk that you end up ruining something that you love, and I do love that one with the strips on it. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. Like, we're going to play with it. You know, sometimes it's worth the risk because it's just paint and paper. Like, and I'm just putting a thin coat of this on so that it hopefully won't obscure all our beautiful detail we've already got. And because this is a lower quality paint again, it's got that more translucent effect. Oops. My paints are crowding in on me. do it this way. Right, maybe give it a good press down this time. See if we can pick up that star pattern that's left on the plate. And then hope that I didn't ruin it. Right, are we ready? Oh, yeah. Yeah, looks like we've done not too bad lifting up most of that pattern. A few. Yeah. Not, oops. Just ripping that little bit a bit further. Okay, so this one, I haven't ruined it. It's more blue than the pink, but it's actually gone slightly purple in areas, which is really pretty. And there is, I don't know if you can see some of the star detail, but it's got lots of great texture now, so that thinking doesn't need some light in it. I'm thinking it does need a little bit of light just to lift it. So I am thinking the fluoro pink, not white, because the only white I've got is that really bad quality light, white. So I'm thinking, because we have got this pink in there, let's do a bit of this. Oops, the lip cap has run away. And I can't reach it without knocking the tripod. It's cold, so the paint shouldn't dry out super badly. Just sitting there for a few minutes. Now, what do I want to do in this? What sort of pattern? Maybe I want to do the plastic, the scrunched up plastic might be nice. Right, let's pop this down quickly because it's such a thin layer that I think it's going to dry quite quickly. I know this bit at the top where it's torn is going to end up tearing off altogether very soon, I think. So let's see if we can get it up without that happening. It's no biggie if it does. It's only going to be torn up anyway. Collage fodder, that's the name of the game today. And I'm choosing to use the butcher paper because it's very thin. So when you're collaging and layering things up, you don't end up too bulky using these thinner papers. Has it made any difference? Okay. It's actually hard to see what difference it made, to be honest. There is a few little bits of the pink showing. And I think I'm going to just leave it at that because I think once it's torn into pieces, it's going to be beautiful. And it is beautiful. It doesn't really need lightness in it because it's going to be layered up with other things. If it was going to be used as a journal page, you might want to bring in some of that light. Oh, it is super pretty though. Yes, it's pretty. I'm happy with it. Right, so we've got 3 more still to go. So there's this one that I've already done the scrunched plastic on, I am wondering about the pink again. I think the pink, the turquoise or aqua or whatever, and the orange might be an interesting combo. Oops, got it too close to me. I'm almost in danger of brayering my sweatshirt. Be one way to add some colour to the grey. I do have a hoodie that I normally wear for this type of thing that's already covered in paint. I didn't even think about it today. I was just like, right, time to do my video, get into it. And it's like, yeah, I could have been wearing my painted grubby as hoodie. Right, so I love these strips. I love the effect. So I'm going to go with these again. And every time I put them down, I'm just doing a different sort of composition. Whatever strikes me. Maybe that one there. And let's do some more of this the security lock thing. I don't even know what to call it really. Just that's what it is. It's a security lock thing. Oops, put my finger in there. Never mind. Okay, and let's do some across this way. Okay, let's call that good and see what happens. So some bits are being used as a mask and some as a stamp. So the plastic bit here is being used as a stamp to lift colour, and these strips I'm using as a mask at the moment. So you can use them in different ways. Again, rubbing into those little holes. Oops, there goes my alarm. Oh dear. I'm going to have to pause you because I need to move the tripod. Hang on a tick. Sorry about that. That just goes to show how long I've actually been doing this, and I need to stop because I've got things to do and I don't want this to go over an hour, and we are almost at an hour. So let's just pull this final one and then we will call it quits for the video. I'll give you a little look at what we did. And yeah, that'll be it. While I had to pause the video, I rescued the lid that I'd dropped. I took my calcium supplement, which is why my alarm went off, and went and grabbed the washing out of the washing machine because it had finished, so I've got to go hang that out. Yeah, so I thought I'd just do a few things while I had you on pause anyway. And then I came back and looked at the time of the recording, and it was like, yeah, I need to wrap this up. That is cool. I love that. There's all this beautiful texture in there, beautiful layers of colour and pattern, and I think that is super, super, super cool. Okay, so I will I'm not going to stop though. Once I've gone and done some chores, I'll come and finish up the other couple of sheets I've got to do. But on video, on camera, this will be it. So we've got that one. We've got this one, which is very much more subtle in terms of its colour variation and pattern. But if you can see it in real life, it's actually really cool. Got this one, which I super love with that blue and white. Just really lovely, some lovely detail. This cool one with the plastic smoosh down on it and a bit of the ghost print from the strips. Love that one too. And then we've got this one, the orange and yellow one, which I also love. I love them all. And then we've got these two background pages that I've yet to print on. So I will do those off camera, finish them up once I've hung the washing out so it can get dry. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you are keen on giving gel printing a go if you don't have one. There may even be classes near you that you could go and give it a go and see whether you like it or not. Or perhaps to get out your gel plate and have a play with some bits of trash. So thanks so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of the day and I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Take care. Bye.